Hello everyone, Jules here. Today I'd like to talk about a really interesting tarot that was published by Lo Scarabeo a number of years ago in 2005, and that is the Tarot of Metamorphosis. Here is the box, and on the cover this is the Queen of Wands, and this is a surrealist fantasy art deck, and the Italian artist's name is Luigi Di Giammarino. So this is a really interesting and different deck. It's a bit quirky, but I really like surrealist art, and this is also on a fantasy type of theme as well. And it's one of those decks that, because it is different and because it is quirky, it really does extend you quite a bit when you're using it. I think it's loosely Waite-Smith based because there are scenic pips, but that would be the only similarity really. But it's a really interesting deck, and I love the artwork and I love the theme. I like the theme of metamorphosis, and I think we are going to be entering a year of metamorphosis. I think that's a really relevant theme for the year that's coming up. And also for me personally, I think I'm going to be working with this deck quite a bit. Up until now I haven't worked with this deck very much, and even though I love the art, I haven't been as drawn to this deck as I am now. So I can really see myself using this deck quite a bit this year. And I think it's the kind of deck that would be really useful for journaling too, because it is on the theme of metamorphosis, and it relates or refers to mythology. There's a mythological theme, and also different books from literature, so that have a kind of metamorphosis theme in them. So it's a really interesting deck. So here is the Queen of Wands, and on the back is the Fool card, so you can get an idea of the kind of artwork in this. So this is really interesting. It has the kind of heart or heart chakra here with a green dragon energy coming out of the heart chakra, and there's rays of light from the eye and from the head, which you could see as the crown chakra. So it's a really interesting deck, and it has a yantra here, the Hindu yantra symbol in the background. So it's such an interesting deck. I don't think it's all that well known, and it really should be, because I think it was kind of created ahead of its time. This was created in 2005, so that's at least 13 years ago. And I think at the time this deck was overlooked or not understood very well. So I think it's a deck that's really relevant for now. And the Little White Book is very useful for this deck. It's well written, and I think you particularly need the Little White Book, but the Little White Book is really well written for this deck, so that's good. Now for the cards, they're the usual Lo Scarabeo stock, and I think these are quite good. On the back of the card, this is actually the High Priestess card, the face of the High Priestess card. So you could do reversals with this deck if you wish, but I don't think you really need reversals. It's the kind of deck that has got so much content in the images, and there's lots to think about in the upright cards. I don't think you would need to do reversals. But anyway, that's the back of the cards. Now I'm going to show some of the major arcana cards first that I particularly like. Here is the Emperor. So this is really different in itself. There's an emperor, well, there's two emperors. It's like the, people might think, oh, well, that's almost like a father and son emperor idea, but I think it's like the outer and the inner self of the emperor. So that's the Emperor card. Here is the Lovers. The artwork is quite beautiful, and you can see that the object of love here is a water creature. So there's a fantasy and surrealist art style to this deck. The Hermit. Now this is a very Salvador Dali style of hermit, and I really like Salvador Dali art, so and I like the way the little white book does explain the images in the card, so that's really useful. There's not a lot of detail, but there's just enough to get a basic understanding of the images and what they intend. So the Hermit. The Wheel. I love this because it's very much a nature theme and the idea of nature's cycles. So I think this is a great wheel card. The Hanged Man. And I love the way the Hanged Man in this image, is more part of the tree itself, and there's branches coming out of the Hanged Man figure. So this is quite a unique and different deck. Now this is Temperance, and some people might mistake this for the Death card, but this is Temperance. And it's Temperance because of the metamorphosis of life to death, or death to new life. The passing of the soul to the other side. So this is a very original interpretation of the Temperance card. Now the Tower. The Tower card. I mean, this is one of the best Tower cards I've ever seen. This figure of light here that's emerging from the stone tower figure. These cards have a matte finish, by the way. There's only a really slight shine, but it's mainly a matte type I wouldn't even call it semi-matte because the shine is only slight on these cards. So it's the Tower, the Stars, such a beautiful card. There's a lot of symbolism, quite a lot of symbolism in the card, so there's plenty to reflect on and think about with the images. So the stars, the moon, the sun. I love this face in the sun. The deck has a bit of a mysterious feel to it as well. And the Judgment card. I like this. There's a kind of feeling of foreboding, or it's giving that kind of appearance of kind of the foreboding feeling of being judged. So I like that. It's a very original interpretation of the image. Now for the suit cards, the minor arcana. Here's the wands, and the wands are on a nature theme for wands. So this is the Ace of Wands, and you can see the energy. This is representing the energy of nature. So each of the suits are the metamorphoses of each element. So this is the wands are the metamorphoses of nature. This is an interesting Four of Wands. So you can see the Four of Wands theme, but this is a little bit different because there's a nature spirit inside the Four of Wands, or the four trees. So gives this card a different meaning. I think a lot of these cards have different meanings to the usual Waite-Smith type of thing. The Knave of Wands, you can really see the fire element energy in this. So the pages are called knaves in this deck. Now for the chalices. So cups are called chalices. And this one, I think, is the metamorphosis of myth. So myth or mythology is linked with the chalices. The water element. So here is the Ace of Chalices. So you can see a figure here trying to hold and contain water or fluid. You can see a face in the clouds there. So, Ace of Chalices, the Six of Chalices, and the King of Chalices. But this is a bit different. You can see a face in the castle there. So this is a bit different. Instead of showing a lot of water or cups, it's kind of saying that the King of Chalices has attained a certain amount of consolidation, but it might also be an indication of a King of Chalices who may be a bit reclusive because they may be in periods of deep reflection. So I quite like this King of Chalices idea. It's quite different. Now for Swords. This is the Metamorphosis of Thought. So thought is with swords. So here is a semi-human creature that's a bit like a fairy tale, or anyway, a creature with wings who is at the depths writing and ready to write their thoughts. So Ace of Swords, Four of Swords. It's a beautiful card. This is a scene from Midsummer Night's Dream, the play by William Shakespeare. So I really like that. Four of Swords, and the Knave of Swords, which is someone who's floating in the air with a sword kind of umbrella. It's a little bit like a male Mary Poppins idea. So here is the Knave of Swords. And then Pentacles is very much on a, well, this one isn't kind of, this is the future of nature. So this has got a nature and technology theme. So it's like the metamorphosis of nature and technology combined. I think they're calling this one the Metamorphosis of the Future. So this is the kind of seed energy of the Ace of Pentacles. And I love this one for the Ten of Pentacles. So this pentacle suit has a futuristic theme. This is saying, well, what is the metamorphosis of the future of nature going to be? So there's the Ten of Pentacles. It's kind of implying the evolution of humans or humanity into another form. So Ten of Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles, which is quite different, and this is a humanoid kind of figure for the Queen of Pentacles. So this is a figure representing the hybrid human of the future, who's going to be part human flesh and part robotic. So there's a lot to think about with this deck. So this is the Queen of Pentacles. So there's some of the cards of the Tarot of Metamorphosis, and I'll put the details below the video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.